special day in the life of the College of Southern Maryland. And I remember, oh gosh, it was a couple years ago, it looked just like this when we did our groundbreaking and dedication of the new campus, but at least we're inside today. Well, we did it. This was a dream that many people were engaged in. And this is a dream that will change the lives of thousands of people, and I am so incredibly excited about today. It wasn't easy, though. In 11 years since I've been president, we've put up 6 buildings. But we never had the challenges that we've had for this building. We never had to worry about water and sewage. We never had to worry about dealing with so many agencies for permits. As recent as last Friday, we got our last permit that popped up out of nowhere. And the politics got very interesting. And yet we continued to move forward because we knew what this building meant to the citizens of Southern Maryland. And you will see the promise realized without any question. This $11 million building is bare bones. I mean, think about it, 30,000 square foot building, $11 million. But what I'm really impressed is it's functional, and there's some very nice touches. When you go in the lobby, you can see some wood, you see columns. It's bare bones, but it also has some very, very nice features. There were many, many people that worked so hard and so diligently to get this building up. And I want to recognize them, and it's always a danger because I'm going to forget some people. So you'll excuse me if I do. But the dream started, oh gosh, it must have been about 6 years ago. And I remember talking to the trustees, and Mary Krug was the board chair then, and one of our staunchest supporters, and I want to recognize Mary for her support. So the Board of Trustees was on board to put up to build a 4th campus. And some would say, well, why do you need a 4th campus? 3 aren't good enough? And the issue obviously was, are we serving all residents of Southern Maryland? This particular facility used to be in Waldorf, in the leased building. And if you lived in southern St. Mary's County or southern Calvert County, and especially if you didn't have a car, you were not going to take advantage of this building. And so, or the building in Waldorf. So the obvious thought was, let's pull it to the middle of the region. And the trustees understood that and they supported that. Well, that's great. You can't do anything in our society without a little bit of money. And in the case of buying the land, which is 74 acres, we could not have done it without the Charles County Commissioners. And the Charles County Commissioners embraced the idea and the concept. And all of them have been wonderful to work with, but I want to recognize one individual who really has been a champion, and his name is Ken Robinson from District 1. I want to thank him for his steadfast support. And not only did they purchase the land for us, the 74 acres, they also paid for 25% of the cost of this building. And as I'll explain later on, the state pays 75% of the cost of construction, and the county pays 25%. What a deal. So I want to thank Charles County Commissioners. I also want to thank the commissioners from Calvert and from St. Mary's counties, because they also understood the promise that we were getting away from, some would think, a La Plata-centric college to one that truly serves all Southern Marylanders. And the commissioners from Calvert and St. Mary's counties have stepped up to the plate. They've agreed willingly to share the expenses of running this facility because we will serve so many more citizens from Calvert and from St. Mary's County. And I want to thank the commissioners from St. Mary's and Calvert County. We couldn't have done this without them. So then it became, where are we going to buy the land? And what land should we purchase? And there were lots of options. We were initially looking at 30 acres. And then as we really started to think about it, it was, well, we really probably should have more room for expansion purposes. And there were three individuals that worked closely with me, and I want to recognize all of them. One who's not able to be with us is Rick Bailey from Merrick Homes. Mike Middleton, and I think I see Mike, who really was a mainstay in helping during all stages of this operation. And Joe Slater, who had been board chair and got pulled into the discussions, and we really appreciated his help, so thank you. The Hughesville Business and Civic Association. What wonderful supporters that we've had, who welcomed us as neighbors, who understood the promise, and who have been with us through thick and thin all through, and I want to thank them. And they've already had their first meeting at our wonderful building, and hopefully many more, so thank you. And a giant thank you, and I don't know, is Les Gooding here? There he is. I can tell you without any question that another major component of this was Les Gooding, who worked with, 5 family members? At least. When you deal with one person, it's hard enough to purchase land. 2, difficult. When you get up to 4 or 5, it's impossible. And I don't know how he did it, but Les Gooding was able to get the job done, and I don't know if anyone else could have done it, so thank you, Les. And Les was assisted by his partners, Ray Mertz and Don Smolinski, and I want to thank all of them. I think Louis Jenkins may be here today. He handled all the legal aspects, really helped us. Our state delegation, and we have a number of individuals from our state delegation, and thank you for your support. Senator Miller, Senator Middleton, they also understood the dream, and I want to thank them. So we received money from the state. We received money from the county. Well, next you have to design the building, and many of our buildings have been designed by Grimm & Parker. And Grimm & Parker Architectural Company, in fact, those of you from St. Mary's County may recognize the name because they're involved in designing the new library in Leonardtown and the Senior Center. And I especially want to thank David Oakes, who worked so closely with us and put some very nice touches onto this building. So thank you, David. There were many engineering companies that were involved in designing this building, but I have to mention one person who was there through thick and thin. Is David Cooksey here? I don't know if I saw David. David needs to be here to share the accolades, because we had a small contract with David Cooksey, and he helped us through the permitting process. But after the contract was over, he continued to volunteer his services. There were endless meetings that he would attend only because he cared about the college and he volunteered his services. And having someone with his expertise sitting beside me meant all the difference in the world, so I want to thank him as well. Members of the Charles County Planning Department played a big role. I want to thank them. Construction, Scheibel did a fantastic job, and Rich Mellon is here representing John Bailey. Thank you, Rich, for your support. And a major thank you to Dan Mosser, and Dan is sitting right over there. You'll be hearing him a little bit. You know, it's easy to say, okay, here's the ball, now make it happen, Dan. Dan is our Vice President for Workforce Development. He was the one who oversaw this project, and I think he has fewer hairs, and they're certainly grayer because of it, but he should be very proud. Working with him, Bruce Posey, who runs this facility, and Kelly Winters, who heads up our Workforce Development area. I want to thank Ron Tord, Maintenance Supervisor, for his work. Mark Wadnioli, I don't know if Mark is with us today. Mark owns Rainbow Construction. That's where we were. We leased his facility in Waldorf for about 6 years. And thank goodness for Mark, because this building moved a little bit slower than we thought it would, and he allowed us to extend the lease rather than putting all of this equipment in storage, and we were able to continue to educate individuals during this transition period. So if you see Mark of Rainbow Construction, thank him for me. And a very special thank you to the person who was always beside me. And sometimes I have to apologize because I'd come home very frustrated, and there was my wife, Linda, always by my side, always calming me down. but I did know that this day would come eventually. So there are so many people were involved. And I have to tell you what your presence means to me personally. Over 230 individuals RSVP'd to come, and I think the weather may have had an impact on the presence of some. That is not about anything other than the support of the college and the promise of what this building can do, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. We're going to need more of your support in the future. I want to recognize a number of individuals that I haven't talked about yet. You're going to hear some of them today. But from our Calvert County Commissioners, we have Tom Hedgel, who is President of the County Commissioner Board. We have Evan Slogenhoff, Vice President. We have Steve Weems, also a Commissioner. And our County Commissioner in Calvert County is Terry Shannon. Thank you for coming. In Charles County, obviously, you're going to be hearing from Peter Murphy, who's Commissioner President. Deborah Davis, always a very strong supporter, is with us, as is Ken Robinson is here. Amanda Stewart, very strong support. In fact, all of these individuals are very strong in their support. St. Mary's Commissioners, Randy Guy, Commissioner President. You'll be hearing from him in just a little bit. And Rebecca Bridget is County Administrator in St. Mary's County. In terms of the Calvert delegation, we have Susie Proctor. There she is. Thank you for being here. Edith Patterson, our own Edith Patterson, who has been an employee in the past for many years and is now serving us well in Annapolis. State senators, obviously, you're going to be hearing from Mike Miller. Dawn Belinsky, who is on the school board for Calvert County, is with us today. I think you're around here. There you are. Thank you. From the Charles County Board of Education, Mike Lucas, who's the chair. Thank you for coming. And the St. Mary's Board of Education, we have James Davis, their newer member. Hi, James. And Mary Washington, who's always at our functions, and thank you. Board of Trustees, you'll be hearing in a little bit from Dorothea Smith, who is our board chair. Ted Harwood is here with us, who is our vice chair, soon to be chair of the board next year. I've mentioned Mike Middleton. Dr. John Roach is here, as is Jay Webster. And we have a number of foundation board members, James Andrzejewski, Jim DeMisa, Nancy Hempstead, Jay Lilly, Brenda Lowe, Dixie Miller, Dr. Stephen Peters, Trey Proctor. Emeritus is Steve Lowe. And the list could go on, but let's get down to business, if we may. There are several reasons why we're here today. When we opened in 1958, this college could be considered, and for many, many years, we were considered to be a white-collar community college. If you wanted to be an engineer, a teacher, an architect, etc., you could come to the college. If you wanted to be an electrician, a welder, not so much. But we understood that there are so many important careers in the trades, but we needed space for Southern Marylanders to get that training. And we were able to do that through a grant from the Department of Labor. And this was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And I'm still proud of this. There were only 11 projects selected from 171 applicants. And we were one of them to set up our Center for Trades and Energy Training in Waldorf. And that's what got us started. That's support from the federal government. And they say, build it and they will come, and they came. And I remember the dedication. I don't know how many of you were at the dedication for the original CTET in Waldorf. And I will never forget that opening, and I'll never forget he wasn't such a young man. He was probably in his 50s. Never really had a good job, and we were all in tears when he talked about what the center would mean to him as he pursued an education training in becoming an electrician. And I'll never forget that day. And hundreds of Marylanders are now realizing a better life, earning a very good income, being able to support their families because of CTET. Well, it didn't take a PhD to realize that the Center for Trades and Energy Training couldn't stay in Waldorf. It had to go somewhere else. It had to be bigger. And that's why the commissioners said, let's build our own and let's move forward. So, where to build it? Well, as I intimated, there's always winners and losers. If we put it in we could put it in one of our campuses. We could have put it in the La Plata campus, or the Leonardtown campus, or the Prince Frederick campus. And guess what? The commissioners in one of those counties would have been thrilled, but the other two sets would not have been so happy, and quite frankly, the residents of the other two counties would not have been as well represented. So in the end, the decision was an easy one. We put it in the middle. Makes perfect sense, where all individuals can be served in all three counties. And what's even more exciting is working with the three transit systems, and eventually this campus will become a hub where the transit systems from all three counties will come deliver students to this site. So whether you have a car, your own transportation or not, we're going to make sure you get here. We're still working on that. But the bottom line is this. When I first came 11 years ago, the Board of Trustees said basically one thing to me, well, two things: don't screw up, and make this one college. Not a collection of three loosely affiliated campuses, but one strong college. And what this campus is going to do is link all of us together. And thanks to the legislature, we're able to do this. But the dream continues, because I am so thrilled, because of Senator Miller, because of the delegation. We now have funding, and of course, from Charles County government, we have funding to design the second building. The second building, the Health Sciences building, will start that development as early as this summer. And within a few years, you will see two very strong buildings, and soon they'll be joined by a fine arts center, by our athletic fields, by a field house, and two expansion buildings. And we truly will help to change the face of Southern Maryland. As I mentioned, we currently have 18,000 square feet of space in Waldorf. This is 30,000 square feet. I hope you'll have a chance to wander around this wonderful building. But we have 6 laboratories. We have a number of classrooms and administrative spaces. We have a computer lab that Dan Mosser has always wanted, and he has a state-of-the-art. We have no better computer lab on any of our campuses than what we have right now. One of the classrooms is a multi-purpose lab, because one of the things I understand is there needs to be space for groups to meet in Southern Maryland, especially nonprofits. Nonprofits will be able to use this space at no cost to have meetings and conferences, and that's going to be very important. And there's another 10,000 square feet for expansion. So we can have 2 more laboratories in the future, and we're going to find out what it is that we really need to offer in the future. It could be culinary, it could be automotive, it could be manufacturing. But we're going to work with the leaders and citizens of Charles County, St. Mary's County, and Calvert County to make sure that this facility serves the needs of so many people. It's also going to be the home of the Maryland Center for Environmental Training. Since 1982, this facility has been offering, this center, training in environmental safety and health training and compliance throughout the state. They're in West Virginia, they're in the region as well. As you walk around the building, you'll see that some of the spaces have already been named for donors. You'll see Merrick Homes represented. You'll see the Community Bank of the Chesapeake represented. You'll see Exelon Generation represented. And I have a little hint for you. We got plenty of spaces. We're looking for more donors. And it's not just, you understand this, it's not just having your name on a lab or on the building. That money goes toward not athletic teams or anything like that. It goes toward scholarships. Because these students, unfortunately, who come to this facility are denied Pell Grants. They've got to come up with their own money. Those funds will also pay for some additional equipment. So if you have some spare change, Michelle Goodwin would love to work with you on that. Okay, well, enough of me. On with the show. It's my great pleasure to introduce, and she hates when I say my boss, but she is my boss, but she's also my mentor and friend, Dorothea Smith, board chair. She was appointed trustee shortly after my arrival in 2007, graduate of Bowie State University, Bachelor of Science, Master of Education degrees, retired educator. She began her 30-year teaching career in 1965, I guess I shouldn't have said that, in Charles County Public Schools, but one of the strongest voices of the College of Southern Maryland, and she truly has helped to make the college what it is today. Dorothea Smith?
Good afternoon. He won't have to say boss too much longer, okay? 2 more months, okay? The impact of the College of Southern Maryland is far-reaching beyond academics and training. In fact, according to our most recent analysis by EMSI on the economic impact and value of the College of Southern Maryland, the statistics are staggering. They show that CSM plays a key role in helping students increase their employability and achieve their individual potential. The overall impact of CSM on the local business community during 2015-2016 amounted to $303.8 million in added income and 5,320 jobs. It is in looking at this significant positive impact of CSM that the college's trustees are especially excited about the potential of this regional Hughesville campus that is centrally located in Southern Maryland and its first building, the Center for Trades and Energy Training. This will efficiently and effectively serve the residents of Southern Maryland far beyond what we physically see today. The master plan by Grimm and Parker Architects for the new and centralized campus is designed to create a sense of community, and it includes up to 5 phases of growth. The Board of Trustees has committed to 2 of them, with the first phase being dedicated today, the Center for Trades and Energy Training. We are grateful to the state that have approved funding for the capital projects in this upcoming fiscal year to begin the planning for the second phase of the master plan, the construction of a state-of-the-art health sciences building that will provide training and education for healthcare professionals of the future. The trustees look forward to CSM providing Southern Maryland and Washington area employers with a workforce that possess the skills and attitudes to meet their employees' needs. And we are looking to continue working with our industry partners, the school systems, the county governments, and economic development to provide this comprehensive solution to address the demands for new jobs to the economy that require new skill sets for our workers. I especially want to recognize my employee, Dr. Brad Godfrey. I've never done that. Let me say that again. I especially want to recognize Dr. Brad Godfrey as the president of the College of Southern Maryland for his vision and leadership in bringing our college to this point in our history. As he prepares to retire from the college on June 30th, I invite you to join us here the evening of June 3rd as we celebrate Dr. Godfrey, his career, and his vision for the community. Proceeds from the evening event will be used to create the Godfrey Building Future Scholarship. This scholarship will support workforce training students who are ineligible for financial assistance in the areas of business, construction and skilled trades, cybersecurity/IT, healthcare, hospitality, and transportation. Please join us in truly making an impact in the lives of our local students, their families, our community, and beyond, and also in letting Dr. Brad Godfrey know how much we really appreciate his being here for 11 years and being away from his lovely wife, Linda, all hours of the night. And I'm adding to this, a lot of this is written, but he has spent so many hours in our community, making it a better place for all of us to live. And truly, sometimes people say I do a lot, but I tell you, trying to keep up with this gentleman here is very difficult. So please give him a hand right now. Thank you.
Well, I may not retire now. You may be stuck with me for a while. We do have, by the way, I should announce, a wonderful, wonderful successor, Dr. Maureen Murphy, who comes to us from a community college in New Jersey. I came from New Jersey, and it's a tradition. But Dr. Murphy, this will be her third presidency, so she'll come with a skill set where she will definitely hit the ground running, and I am so enthusiastic about the future of the college and the region under her leadership. So she'll start on July 1, and hopefully you all have an opportunity to meet her very, very soon. Well, on with the show. Our next speaker is a representative for Governor Hogan, but actually I would be thrilled if she were here all by herself. And that is Kelly Schultz, who was appointed by Governor Larry Hogan, March 2015, to be Secretary of Maryland's Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulation. Excuse me. She understands the economic benefits of community colleges. Why? Because she's a graduate of a community college in New York, Monroe Community College in Rochester. And then she went on to earn her baccalaureate degree at Hood College. Dollar is a partner. Everybody knows about Dollar, the impact that they've had in terms of job development, employment, and it's a great partner to get people jobs and to move our economy forward. So this afternoon, she's bringing greetings from our governor, Governor Hogan. Please welcome Ms. Schultz.
Well, it's quite obvious. I don't need to tell anybody the importance of community colleges, workforce development, or the trades today. I think everybody here is very well informed with that. But what I can tell you is the importance of it to the overall economic growth, not only for this region of the state, but for the state overall. And we have been working tirelessly over the last couple of years to make sure that we continue to carry that message, the importance of academic learning, but also the importance of being able to develop those skills and to be able to fill those gaps within our workforce that we all know are out there. And sometimes it takes innovation and it takes a way of doing things that's not necessarily like we've always done it. And from what I have seen here in my short visit here so far, this group of individuals has created a vision that is unlike others, but will be able to resort in a model for others across the state in order to be able to capitalize on. I also want to give a very special shout out to the acknowledgement of the businesses and how they play in this academic and workforce arena. We have been working very, very diligently at the Department of Labor, making sure that we understand what the needs of the industries are, because you don't want to build this if we don't know that they are going to come. You want to build this based on what you hear from the community and what the community is saying they need in order to be able to develop what their workforce is. Their workforce is the key point. And we want to make sure as a state that we continue to honor those programs. So for those of you that have been in the communities and that have been listening to businesses, that have been understanding the needs of the industries, congratulations, I applaud you, because that is exactly where the entire state is going based under the leadership of Governor Hogan. I do have a citation here on behalf of the governor, who wishes he could be here, and I know you're suffering with me here this afternoon, but I promise I'll get him back down here for a visit. On behalf of the governor of the state of Maryland, to CSM, it's been abbreviated on here, Center for Trades and Energy Training, greetings. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of a special tribute to honor the dedication of the CSM Center for Trade and Energy Training, located on the College of Southern Maryland Regional Hughesville campus, a 30,000 square foot center providing specialized training in career fields with growth potential, promoting plumbing, carpentry, electrical, HVAC, and welding skills, and as our citizens join in expressing our gratitude and sincere best wishes for future success, We are pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation dated this day, signed by the governor, lieutenant governor, and secretary of state.
One thing that you should have special pride about is this facility is unique. If you go to any of the other 15 community colleges, you won't find a facility as comprehensive as this. We are state-of-the-art. In fact, we're starting to have people coming from all around the state and the region to walk through this facility to say, wow, maybe this is something that's in our future as well. And I just think that that's very, very special. Also very special is one of our senators who needs no introduction, Senator Mike Miller, but I'll introduce him anyway. We all know that he's been a member of the Senate since January 1975, Senate President since 1987, represents Calvert, Charles, Prince George's County in District 27. We all know about his distinguished career. But what I have to say is this is a man who, if the college, if the region has a problem, he is always there for us. And I want to thank you personally, Senator, for all that you've been and will continue to be for this college and for this region and for the state. Senator Miller.
Folks, thank you very much. I'll try to be brief. Let me just say that I was giving a commencement address at Cole Fieldhouse in the 1980s, and this young co-ed was introducing me, and she had the same bio that the good doctor had, and she was very nervous. And she said, Senator Miller was elected to the Maryland Senate in 1974, and she's supposed to say that. Before that, he served one term in the Maryland House of Delegates. She goes, Senator Miller was elected to the Maryland Senate in 1974, and before that, he served one term in the Maryland House of Corrections. Now, me being a Democrat and coming from Prince George's County, she probably thought it wasn't too far from the truth, right? But I'm excited and delighted to be here. We have two of our great delegates here, Susie Proctor and Ms. Edith Patterson. Come here, if you two would do this for me, please. We have a citation and a flag. If you would present this to Dr. Godfrey, we'd appreciate it very much. If you would. These are two fine delegates, two educators. And also, John Woods, you step up here, please. John Woods is a former member of the House of Delegates also. He's the one that made this Tri-County possible. And thank you all very much for being here and honoring Dr. Godfrey, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Folks, look, there's a lot of people we need to acknowledge, and Dr. Godfrey can't acknowledge every single person here, but let me just acknowledge two people that I think need to bring to your attention. One lady who's particularly generous. We passed a bond bill in the session last year for $500,000. That was great, but it was part of a matching grant because guess what? Out of her personal funds, she gave $1 million to the College of Southern Maryland. Marianne Harms, where are you? Marianne Harms, I know she's here. Thank you very much, Marianne Harms. Thank you so much. Thank you. The College of Social Studies. Thank you so much. The College of Social Studies. Also, this past weekend, I was at a farm, blessing a farm, okay? This is a farm that feeds all the hungry people. And it was a great experience. They have scores of convicts, inmates come and they plant the crops. They work the fields, plant the crops, and then they bring thousands of citizens to come reap the crops, including the whole University of Maryland football team. You know what I mean? And, it's just a wonderful experience. And then they have millions of pounds of food donated throughout the state. Bernie Fowler, Jr., thank you so much. Stand up. Bernie Fowler, Jr., this is farm right there in Charles County. Thank you so much. Here's just an example of the people we raise down here in Southern Maryland and contribute to this great college. I particularly also want to thank Dr. Godfrey. I know not everybody knows this, but he's an author. Besides doing this, he's published 6 books on the Civil War. And they're bestsellers on all the major battlefields of the Civil War. And he's done a great job. And also as a historian, he's helped us preserve property at Faulkner House, the home where John Wilkes Booth stopped. And he didn't know it, but we gave him LaGrange this year, okay? LaGrange is just outside La Plata, $980,000. And all of a sudden, Doctor, you're in your property, you got to take care of it. It's a home of Dr. Craik, the personal physician for George Washington, right inside La Plata, the light there. But also, it's a home of just Joshua Henson, okay? Early person who's honored in Canada and England, but who we forget here in Southern Maryland. This was his birthplace in La Plata, and also he moved to to Montgomery County, and now that property is in the possession of Charles County because of the hard work of Dr. Gottfried. Also, legislators, or any legislators who haven't been recognized, this was a hard project to make happen, honestly and truly. I'm not going to go into the whole history, but Senator Mac Middleton, honestly and truly, I was president of the Senate, but I didn't represent Charles at that time. But it was a question of Charles being the mother county extending to Calvert and St. Mary's. People in Calvert and St. Mary's, they wanted the projects, but they didn't want to pay for it. You know what I mean? And St. Mary and Charles is saying, look, it's our property. What the hell, we got to pay for something for it. You know what I mean? And so we were able to work at a compromise. And the only way we settled, I said, look, the state will pay half of everything, okay? All right, the only state's going to pay half of everything. So we were able to get the property in Calvert County, the property in St. Mary's County, and of course this is now an extension of that, and just such wonderful, so many legislators, we stand on their shoulders to make this happen. Also the county commissioners. It also took county commissioners that time to make it happen, and still the county commissioners, they need to come together and work together, and they do, and also your trustees. Thank you, trustees, honestly. Any former trustees out here that didn't get recognized? Mary, I know you were recognized, but she was also a county commissioner that helped make this happen. But let's give a round of applause for all the legislators and county commissioners, past and present, and trustees as well. So the bottom line is this college is alive and well. As Dr. Gottfried said, in the budget this year, this lady, Kelly, raise your hand. She left already? She left already. And she just comes and goes. I was with her at the fights last weekend at MGM. You know, she's there. She dropped out. Governor Hogan was on one side, and I was on the other side of her. And next thing you know, the second flight starts, and she disappeared. You know, she went back to Frederick County. But anyway, we're glad to have everybody here. But this year in the General Assembly, in addition to what we have now, 1.75 for a new science center right here on this project, 1.75. And then guess what we're going to have a field house here. We're going to have a fine arts center here. We're going to have athletic fields serving all three campuses. But this year, we not only had the 1.75 in the budget, we had $200,000 for a new entrepreneurship here, the $500,000 matching Ms. Harms's money. Also, we had $500,000 for a sewage treatment plant. And again, the $980,000 he didn't know he was going to get for the LaGrange for Josiah Henson's house, which he's now going to take care of for the state, okay? Folks, it's been great. College of Southern Maryland's great. One of my son-in-laws graduated from here. One of my grandsons graduated from here. It's a blessing to all of us in Southern Maryland. Thank you all for making this happen. God bless you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Senator Miller. And I especially want to thank you for mentioning Marion Harms. We have probably 30 buildings on our campuses. Only 2 of them are named at this point. One is for John Harms, Marianne's beloved husband. And soon you will see the sign going up in front of that building, the flagship building at the Prince Frederick campus, and we're so thrilled. And she worked with Senator Miller to get a bond bill, so the equivalent of $1.5 million. Thank you, Marianne. And the other one was Dr. Francis Caramonte. His name graces the Center for Science and Technology on the La Plata campus. So we've got a lot of other buildings to be thinking about. You know, I was reading, and I shouldn't even go, I'm not going to go there. I was reading, oh, what the heck. I was reading somewhere, hey, it's my show, right? I can't remember where it was in the Post, but someone gave $10 million to, I don't know if it was George Washington or Georgetown or Johns Hopkins, $10 million, and they got an atrium of a building. $1 million will get your name on it. What a deal. I also want to recognize a few of the vice presidents who really did work. They work with me, they suffer with me, and they suffer because of me. But I do want to recognize them, and I'm going to call out their names very quickly. Rich Fleming, Craig Patnow, Tracy Harris, Michelle Goodwin, Tony Jernigan, Bill Comey, Dan Mosser, and Eileen Abel, and I want to thank them for all that they've done. Well, now it's time to turn to our commissioners, and our first will be Charles County Commissioner Peter Murphy. And one of the first people that I met, I think you remember that, Peter, when I came to Southern Maryland, very, very gracious. At that time, he was a member of the House of Delegates. He served for 7 years. And he was the chair of the Charles County delegation for 2 years. He's currently, as you know, Commissioner President. of the Charles County Commissioners. He's been in that capacity since 2014. And we deeply appreciate his support, the county commissioners of Charles County's support, because again, we would not be where we are today without that kind of support. So please help me welcome Commissioner Peter Murphy.
Good afternoon. It's, it's Murphy's Law that they always put me following Senator Miller. I can't compete with that at all. But anyway, and I'm sorry that Secretary Schultz left. I had the real pleasure of working with her when we were in the legislature together. And while we are incredibly strong as a region, having that kind of help and support from the state is essential to getting us to where we are today. So I'm very grateful, obviously, that the governor supports us and that we have those kind of relationships with the state that we do here from the county level. I just want to say very briefly that on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, that we want to thank you very much for including us today in this celebration. And it really is a celebration when you get so many people together to really experience such an amazing building, an amazing vision that really is now coming to fruition. Just going to touch on just a couple of things that seem somewhat, I think, pretty important, and that is that obviously location has a lot to do with the success of things, and Dr. Gottfried mentioned that there could have been any number of places that this campus could have been located. But by locating it here, it really does demonstrate very clearly that we are a region, that we work as a region, that we work with each other, and that Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's came together to recognize how important this location was to make it so much more accessible to so many more individuals. And so I think that's key as we move forward here and as you have plans to grow this campus. Obviously, this does support our workforce initiatives and people that want to take that path. We're very grateful for that. And I would just like to interject something right here. I'm very happy to hear about the scholarship program. I found out we were going through this process that, Charles County has a scholarship program. But unfortunately, individuals that typically follow this path don't have access to federal scholarships, state scholarships, or local scholarships. They don't. They've got to pay for these things themselves. So I want you to know that we've now expanded our scholarship program. And so we're going to start giving scholarships to students that want to come and go through these programs as well. They deserve the same opportunities for career advancement than anybody does. We make no distinction. And so I just want to let you know we've now expanded that this year. And then the other thing, too, obviously, is that what this does in today's society is it will give young people or individuals an opportunity to get an education, to further their careers, to improve the quality of their life in an environment that does not necessarily require that they end up with large student debt and student loan, that they can get right into the workforce, do what they want to do, contribute back to our communities and so forth. So what a wonderful opportunity to give them that. They can come here and go right into their career field. So this will give them that opportunity. And then just very briefly, Brad, I don't think, and everybody knows that I'm not going to say anything that you haven't already heard or will hear, but we wouldn't be here today as a group. And how wonderful, you think about it, we're all here for one reason, right? Really to celebrate what this means. But it wouldn't have happened without your vision and your persistence, right? and your support, Linda. And so for that, we are eternally grateful that you are doing that. It will not only help the economic development, obviously, within Hughesville. We are looking forward to that. But it will actually, and it may sound a bit trite, but it isn't. There's a potential of changing lives. I mean, people will walk through these doors, not knowing what's necessarily ahead of them, but knowing what, just like, you have this vision, not knowing exactly what it's going to look like, not knowing exactly where it's going to take you, but the number of people who will come through here with that same feeling and leave with something to allow them to be much more successful. We couldn't ask for anything more than that. So we thank you very much and appreciate your vision, your hard work, and certainly, I know that Dr. Mosser was very instrumental in making all of this happen, and all the other folks that got behind you to push to make this happen. So again, we thank you. And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, we'd like to give you a flag that we would be proud to have flying out here in front of the building. Okay? Thank you so much.
One of the things that I am very proud of, and I really want to thank you for your comments in terms of the support that our students who get this kind of training really deserve, and the obstacles they have. You know, when we talk about a $2,000 price tag to become a welder or to get a welding certification, I'm just using it hypothetically. Our foundation will oftentimes come up with half the amount of money. We run out of money, though, unfortunately. But the person has to come up with the rest of the money. And if you're working at McDonald's, or if you're working at a, I won't say a dead-end job, but a job that's not really paying that much, that other $1,000 is a mountain. And to have this additional support is so critically important. I also want to recognize that for the first time, when we have our commencement on May 18th, and I hope you'll join us because it's always a joyous time. Hopefully it won't be raining because we're outside. But for the first time, it won't simply be students walking, graduates who have earned a certificate or a degree. It'll also be people walking who have achieved the journeyman license through CTET. They will also be honored on that particular day, and I'm just so proud of them. And I'm proud of this college because we understand it's not simply college, it's post-secondary education and the promise that is associated with this kind of training. So I just did want to mention this. We have, let me get to where I'm supposed to be. I'm jumping all around, I apologize. Our next speaker is Commissioner James Randy Guy. He's serving his first term as Commissioner President of the Commissioners of St. Mary's County. He's a graduate of the Community College of the Air Force with a degree in Transportation and Traffic Management, and he served as Deputy Sheriff in St. Mary's County and is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, and he served for 26 years. But most importantly is when Commissioner Guy was being sworn in, I had an opportunity to meet his wife and found out that she is a proud graduate of Charles County Community College. And we truly are so grateful for his support and all of the commissioners in St. Mary's County who understand the promise of this facility. Commissioner Guy?
Thank you all. He didn't tell you that my wife is also a graduate of the University of Maryland, summa cum laude. She went on to get 2 master's degrees. She went on to the War College. She still serves at the Pentagon as and I'm proud to say, probably the only division chief that's a woman on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. She's a division chief for what they call Rainbow Resource Management Office. So those of you who think women have a tough job, she's got one hell of a tough job because she deals with general officers all day long. That's all she deals with, and of course they think that they walk on top of the waters or feet above it. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and it is true that I'm more on the trade side. I think I spent 26 years in the Air Force, and I'm more of a technical type of person. My wife is the highly academic one, so we make a good mix. You know, I cook dinner every night and do things like that, so I get prepared for when she comes home. But we've done well in St. Mary's County. It's a beautiful place to live. I spent 26 years in the Air Force. I came back to this beautiful area, Tri-County area. I deal a lot with the Charles County Commissioner President and the Calvert County. Matter of fact, we meet once a month on our first Monday. We have lunch right in Charlotte Hall and talk about things that affect the entire area, the Tri-County area. And it's just great to be able to talk to someone and get other visions and that idea. This is a beautiful vision. It's a great thing that's happened to us here. It's a glorious day that we have such a thing. When I retired, matter of fact, I went into business for myself in a pool and spa business. One thing I needed was somebody had some idea about how to put swimming pools in or just to put a pipe together. You'd be surprised that somebody doesn't know what a Schedule 40 PVC pipe is and how to prepare it, weld it, and things like this. And I went to, at that time, the Forest Center, which still has a plumbing division. And I asked about people, and they said, yeah, we can get you some students here. How many? Yes, I need about 5 this summer. Sure. You just got to fill out paperwork once a week, tell them what these guys did as part of their on-the-job training that they actually perform these tasks. And I was glad to be a part of that partnership with that. And we got a huge partnership here with not only the state, thanks very much to Mr. Miller, our Senate, who has done great jobs in providing funds down in this area, and all of you have provided to benefit all of the people in St. Mary's County, Charles County, and Calvert County. This is a great asset for us, because I told somebody earlier, I said, you never know, if you're not really too much into plumbing, your toilet stops up, who are you going to call? You ain't going to call Dr. Godfrey. I don't think you call him. No. You're going to call that plumber who's going to stick his hand down there and pull the hairbrush out that somebody dropped in the toilet. And he's going to charge you the $100 that he did that. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, glad to have somebody to be able to do that for us. And so I do appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate all the special guests here and all those who participated in providing this wonderful facility, and I look forward to the growth of it. We need to have people following our footsteps that's going to be trained to take over where we all leave off here as we end our lives, you might say. Not that I'm going to be here a long time yet, I'm sorry. I just went to the caregivers conference the other day, and everybody looked at me like, oh boy, he's a good candidate for the next in-home care or something. I said, no. I got a long ways to go yet. But thank you all for being here, and I thank you, Dr. Guy, for your great benefits you did here. Here's the St. Mary's County flag. I hope you'll fly it over the campus
We
for us.
definitely will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And last and certainly not least, in terms of our county commissioner presidents, is Tom Hedgel. Tom was elected as an at-large representative to the Board of County Commissioners in 2014, served as vice president, and is currently the president of the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners. He served in the Maryland State Police for 22 years, also as assistant sheriff in the Calvert County Sheriff's Department, and as an investigator with the Calvert County State Attorney's Office. And like our other commissioners, has been so supportive in supporting this college and understanding the value of the College of Southern Maryland, and specifically what this facility can do for the residents of Calvert County. I want to thank him, and I want to welcome him to the podium.
I had 25 years with the state police, and those last 3 years were miserable. No, I'm kidding. You know, on behalf of the Calvert County Commissioners, I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see this. We congratulate the College of Southern Maryland Board of Trustees and the College of Southern Maryland Foundation Board of Trustees for today's dedication of the Center for Trades and Energy Training. And no offense, folks, but when I look around this room, Dr. Godfrey, you might have wanted to start the Health and Sciences facility first. You're okay, Mike. It's just trying to keep up with you, Mike. You know, there's a whole lot to say that has been said, but there's two things that I want to point out. We talk about all the partnerships and what people do and what people give. Exelon, which owns Calvert County, Calvert Cliffs Nuclear Power Plant in Lusby, they donated all the welding equipment, and because of that donation, the welding lab will carry their name. Secondarily, and you hit on this, Merrick Holmes from Calvert County, in their support of the Southern Maryland Trades and Scholarship Program, was a large donor. And both of these are entities from Calvert County. And you hear Charles County and St. Mary's County, rightfully so, touting their counties and what they do. Well, I'm equally as proud of Calvert County as they are of Charles and St. Mary's. And it's good to see Bernie Fowler, Calvert County man. You know, the other thing, too, that I bring up recently, you know, CSM has a reputation far and wide, not just in Southern Maryland or even in Maryland. But recently, we had a chance, and thanks to our Commissioner Vice President Evan Slagenhop, to visit NSA last week. And a group of commissioners and county employees went to NSA for a tour, and they got a tour of the museum. But while they were there, the NSA leadership told them that CSM was the center of excellence for cybersecurity. That's something to be very proud of. So your reputation is far and wide. You know, I'm not going to stand up here. You're all getting hot. I can see it. But this facility was absolutely needed. You know, everybody talks about higher education, higher education, higher education. There's individuals that don't want to do that, but they want to trade. They want to learn something so that their life can be better. With this particular piece of the College of Southern Maryland, they will have that opportunity. And we need those people to have that opportunity. You know, as Brad said, I spent 40 years in law enforcement. A lot of those people I dealt with needed a job. So this will be a wonderful addition to the College of Southern Maryland, and you have my congratulations as well as the rest of the county commissioners. Thank you.
One of the things that I'm really excited about is the possibility of working with our sheriffs to help people who are incarcerated get the skills they need to get a productive job and lead a productive life. And oftentimes we wonder, well, why do people continue to break the law? Because they don't have the skills. And so having the sheriff's department, so we've talked to Sheriff Cameron, for instance, fairly recently, a van coming to this facility with inmates, teaching them skills and traits and training that they will be able, once they're released, to get a marketable job and stay out of the detention system. And I think that's something that we ought to be doing and will be doing here. I'd like to invite Karen McManus up to the podium. She is an aide to Senator Van Hollen, and she has a resolution to present. Karen?
Thank you, Dr. Godfrey. Senator Van Hollen sends his warmest greetings to all of you today on this really wonderful occasion. And he just said he is honored to represent you in the United States Senate, filling the seat of Senator Mikulski. He knows he has a big legacy to follow, and he hopes you'll stay in touch with him and let him know of your needs and your concerns. But today, he asked that I present a citation on his behalf, and it says, this citation is presented to the College of Southern Maryland in celebration of the dedication of its Center for Trades and Energy Training at the regional Hughesville campus, in anticipation of the specialized training that students will receive in high-growth career fields and its collaborations with businesses and organizations in the community, and with appreciation for all it does to enrich the lives of the residents of Southern Maryland. Signed, Chris Van Hollen, United States Senator, on this day, the 25th of April.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Dr. Dan Mosser led the effort to work with the architects, work with the engineers, work with with Scheibel to actually construct the building. And he has been the vice president of the college's continuing education workforce development wing for 7 years and has had more than 3 decades in experience in higher education, and he's done a wonderful job. Dan?
Thank you, Brad. Good afternoon, everybody. I have the privilege of talking to you a little bit about the programs and the people that will be offered in this center and will come to this center. The Center for Trades and Energy Training is Southern Maryland's solution to the nationwide shortage of skilled workers in the construction, wastewater, and energy sectors. We are excited to have our Maryland Center for Environmental Training Program, or MCET we call it, co-located here as well. What MCET does goes far beyond our region. Celebrating 35 years, MCET has earned a national reputation for excellence in environmental, wastewater management, safety, and health training. And while it may not be glamorous, the services and training provided by MCET and CTET is critical. This new building is exceptional in many ways. One of the most notable, there is no other facility like this anywhere among Maryland's colleges and universities that focuses entirely on the preparation of non-degree seeking skilled workers studying the trades with a focus on apprenticeships. These are students who once thought and were too often told that they would not be attending college. These students are now attending CSM here at CTET. How times are changing. This facility is also unique in its design, and it incorporates many LEED features. And some of them you can see, and some of them are not so visible. For example, on the front of the building, if you look from either end, you'll notice solar panels on the roof. The solar panels provide enough electric energy to run all the lighting throughout the center. Recycled materials used throughout the construction. Over 20% of the materials used were recycled materials or contained recycled materials. The use of all green cleaning products to maintain the facility. High efficiency heat pumps you'll notice in the classrooms and the offices on the front of the building, up in the ceilings, are used to provide heating and cooling. LED lighting throughout, high efficiency lighting was used. You'll find that the lighting in the rooms with the south-facing windows along the front of the building actually dim during the day as the sunlight comes up. Those lights automatically dim. It's not your eyesight, it's automatic controls on the lighting. You'll notice placards throughout the hallway that illustrate and explain a lot of these LEED features. And we believe this facility, we know the facility will qualify at the LEED Silver level. We're hopeful it will also qualify at the LEED Gold level. So, unique building. Practicing what we preach here. It's our goal to offer residents of Southern Maryland and the Washington metropolitan region an opportunity to earn a living wage through a career that offers them mobility, job satisfaction, and an ability to use their hands in their work. These career fields represented here in this facility will provide good, livable wages for the next generation of Southern Marylanders well into the future, plus job security. You can't offshore these careers. While we look forward to expanding our offerings to prepare domestic skilled workers for careers in construction and for small and large-scale construction, wastewater, and energy production and transmission projects here in Southern Maryland and throughout the region, for many years now, CTED has provided classroom instruction that supports trades education and apprenticeship programs in HVAC, electrical, carpentry, plumbing, and AWS, American Welding Society certified welders. But constructing this center as part of CSM's new regional Useville campus enables us to expand our visibility and our high-quality training offerings and to reach more students. An example of this is the new computer lab you'll find out adjacent to the lobby through the glass windows. It was built into this facility and will enable us to expand offerings into a wide variety of computer-based classes and software solutions, including CAD and AutoCAD classes. We hope to become AutoCAD certified here. BIM, as BIM expands and is embraced in the construction and architectural professions. PMP certification, project estimating, project scheduling, etc. We're also looking into providing a print room here to help local architects, builders, designers, and engineers access large, complex drawings for projects at the federal and state level. We'll draw those folks into the center and then drag them back here and show them how we can help them train their workers. Another example is our pre-apprenticeship program that will kick off this fall. This program provides basic construction skills and knowledge needed to successfully enter into any construction training or apprenticeship program of their choice and to walk safely onto any construction job site. This program includes basic core skills for all trades workers, plus CDL and OSHA safety courses. I want to give a quick shout out to Joe Slater and the folks from SMECA who brought this concept to us and gave us the opportunity to work with them to design the program. Joe, thank you very much. Employers continue to report difficulty finding these types of qualified workers nationwide through classroom instruction and hands-on lab experiences. The Center for Trades and Energy Training prepares our region's sons and daughters for careers as top-notch skilled workers in entry-level positions in high-demand occupations in as little as 8 to 16 weeks in some cases. Students such as Barbara Scotland, who will speak shortly, is an example of how CSM students can discover a career that provides meaningful employment and family-sustaining wages, even for those who have already earned advanced degrees. With this new state-of-the-art facility, CSM looks forward to even greater opportunities to serve our community and help the students achieve what was once beyond their expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Our next speaker is one of our students. And I'm really excited to have Barbara Scotland join us today because it's all about stereotypes. Prior to coming to CTED, by the way, she is a student, she's a resident of Hughesville, but before she became a student at CTED, She was a technical writer. She was an English professor at the College of Southern Maryland. She was division chair of language and literature. So a true academic, but she realized what her true passion was, and it was working with her hands. And she came to CTET to get the training she needed to be a housing contractor. And I'm really excited because this to me is a role model, and Barbara has done so many great things for the college and for the community just because of who she is. Barbara Scotland?
Wow, what an intro. I feel a little nervous because I'm going to talk about myself a lot, but that's what I was asked to do because people are so interested in my story. So I have been asked to speak on behalf of the students of CSM's new Center for Trades and Energy Training facility. After earning my bachelor's degree and master's degree in English in the 1980s, yes, I did say English, I pursued 2 careers before coming to the trades. My first career was as a technical writer and performance management analyst at the Calvert Cliffs Nuclear Power Plant, where I worked for 14 years. In 2004, I transitioned into my next career, which was higher education, and that was with the College of Southern Maryland. I was hired as an assistant professor of languages and literature at CSM, where I worked for 11 years. And during my last 4 years at CSM, I served as the chair of my division and was a fully tenured professor. In 2015, I made the decision to leave CSM and to pursue my third career as a licensed home improvement general contractor. This career change may seem an unlikely choice for a middle-aged woman whose entire work life has been spent either in an office or in a classroom. But I had already been involved part-time in the home improvement business since 2005. Starting in 2005, I began investing in single-family homes, usually foreclosures, which, as you can imagine, were often in very poor condition. After repairing and upgrading these homes, I would make them available as rental properties. Much of the work I contracted out, but increasingly I felt a strong desire to do more and more of the work for myself. Before leaving my position at CSM, I enrolled in a Maryland Home Improvement Commission licensed general contractor preparation class offered by CSM, of course. Upon completing the class, I took the MHIC exam, and I passed the exam on my first attempt. With a passing score, I applied to the Maryland Home Improvement Commission to become a licensed general contractor, subcontractor, and door-to-door salesman. My license was granted on April 2015. Getting my license has helped establish my own business, but what I really wanted was to be able to do as many home improvement projects on my own as possible. In January 2016, I completed the core curriculum for the trades, a prerequisite course for all students new to the trades. After completing this course, I assessed what would be my trade of choice. I realized that 80% of my repair, maintenance, and upgrade work on my own properties involved plumbing. Thus, I enrolled in my first plumbing class at the CTET in Waldorf. The plumbing courses offered by CSM are part of the nationally recognized National Centers for Construction, Education, and Research curriculum. The NCCER curricula provides a national standardization that provides portability of learned job skills and educational credits. To date, I have completed 4 semesters of plumbing. As a student of the trades, I am excited and I am proud to be able to attend the new CTET. This facility, the equipping of its classrooms and labs, sends a clear message to the community of Southern Maryland. The message is that CSM is as invested in career training and personal enrichment as it is in its innovative and accessible degree programs. The completion of the CTET facility at the new Regional Hughesville campus clearly demonstrates CSM's commitment to many forms of learning and career development. This commitment matches the long-term commitment students must make to be successful in the trades. Recently, I had a conversation with a gentleman about the cost of setting 3 toilets, and he asked me, didn't I think $350 was too much money to pay to have 3 toilets set after a new floor was put in? And I promptly said, no. I said, to become a journeyman plumber, an individual has to complete 144 hours of classroom instruction per year and 200 hours of on-the-job training as an apprentice. An apprentice will complete approximately 8,000 hours or 4 years of training. To become a journeyman and a master plumber, there are several exams for certification at each level, and additional exams and training for changing codes and changing technology. Even after achieving his or her credentials, a plumber must have his or her own tools, a truck to work from, and general liability insurance. All considering, it seems fair that a master plumber should be compensated fairly for his or her investment in the plumbing trade, which may take between 8 and 12 years to achieve full licensure. Too often I hear people say the trades is an alternative to those students who cannot succeed in college. They believe that if a student is not successful in his or her college courses, he or she should go into the trades, as if somehow the trades are less challenging academically than college courses. This viewpoint could not be further from the truth. Being a current student and a member of the construction industry and having previously earned an associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree, I can attest to the rigors of the coursework provided by CSM's CTET. My own coursework in the plumbing trade has been as challenging and as rewarding as any college credit course I have taken to earn any of my college degrees. Through the coursework and the hands-on training I have received at CTET, I've been able to apply new skills immediately and see instant results from my efforts. In closing, I would like to express my personal appreciation to Dr. Gottfried, to the Board of Trustees, to the CSM Foundation Board members, and the CSM faculty and staff for all the support they have given to make the new CTET a reality. Thank you.
And now I get to introduce another family member, Joe Slater, who again needs no introduction, President, Chief Executive Officer, Southern Maryland Electric Co-op, or SMECO, one of the largest co-ops in the country. Joe and SMECO are true partners in education. They employ over 500 employees and have developed, in conjunction with the college, several training programs. Joe holds an MBA in finance from George Washington University and a bachelor's degree from Shepherd College in accounting. But what I'm excited about is that his roots began right here at Charles County Community College, where he received an associate degree in 1979. And like, yes, please do. And like Commissioner Guy's wife, you start here, you can go anywhere, no question about it. But like so many of our students taking classes at CTET today, Joe spent his days working in construction and then his nights in school, in our classes. He's a former trustee, was a board of trustees, and as I mentioned, was instrumental in moving this project forward. So help me welcome Joe Slater.
Thanks, Brad. It's been a real journey working with Brad. He is full of energy, and that's what this building is about, is energy. I just want to share a personal note. I wouldn't be standing here today if not for the Charles County Community College and the Maryland Community College system. I was a construction laborer in White Plains working for Harry Hall, hauling lumber and moving dirt. And one day it occurred to me that I could do better with my life and my career. And I started going to the Charles County Community College at nights with my muddy boots and sweaty shirt, and it led to a lot of great things. So Brad and the entire Maryland Community College system, I have a great debt to pay, and I have very, very deep care about this organization and its success. Brad and I started on this journey when I was on the board and became chairman of the board. We worked with Les Gooding, who really did an awesome job in helping us secure this property. There's been a lot of critics out there, but I think we've silenced them all, Brad, and this is a great celebration that we get to participate in. Brad and I kind of share a similar role in Southern Maryland. He's in education, I provide electric service, but we both work for a board of trustees, and our footprint is very similar. We have Southern Prince George's County, that's the only distinction. But in that regard, Brad and I kind of have stood shoulder to shoulder and stood up to a lot of the challenges. But with that, I'm really thrilled to be here today to participate in this celebration of this great new facility, a vital resource that will play a big part in advancing the success of our Southern Maryland workforce. So with the ribbon cutting today comes the time to put this great facility to work. And we have found a great opportunity to launch this handsome new CTET building into action. For months now, SMECO has been collaborating with CSM on a program of study to meet a very important need. We have many young aspiring linemen and linewomen apply for our 4-year lineman's apprentice program, but simply don't come equipped with the rudimentary skills to meet the basic job requirements to start as an apprentice. Quite frankly, we have some candidates that come to our job fair and don't even know how to use a shovel. It's a very, very sad situation, and it's sad to see them turned away who are otherwise capable candidates. So our Jason Atherton, Jason, please stand up. He's our training director for our linemen. And CSM's Kelly Winters, where's Kelly? Way back there, Kelly. Have worked over the last several months at my request to design a new program to address this need, and what they have come up with is truly exciting. It's the pre-apprenticeship certificate with practical electrical utility worker training. Students will spend 12 weeks learning core construction skills and safety practices here in the CTET, and then they will go across the road to SMECO's Lineman's Training Yard for basics in electrical utility work, including pole climbing, which is the great leveler. SMECO will be providing the electrical utility practicum as a community service, as a good partner with CSM. But wait, there's more. The cost of this program is over $2,000 per student, and we recognize, having seen a lot of the candidates come to our job fair, that this cost may be a major hurdle or a brick wall for some of those guys and gals. The SMECO Board of Directors voted to fund 2 scholarships for the inaugural class this fall of 2017, based on financial need for both, and 1 dedicated to the underserved. So I want to thank my board for stepping up and supplying that. And finally, anticipating that CSM will be producing many more graduate and future linemen than we can utilize, I will be sending a letter out to all my fellow CEO, regional utility CEOs, and contractor CEOs, announcing this program, including the marketing material, and imploring them to step up, hire the graduates, and support this very wonderful program. Again, my compliments to the Board of Trustees, President Gottfried, and all the CSM staff. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Joe. One of the things that Joe mentioned that's so important to me is the whole concept of partnerships. I know all around the room we form partnerships with so many organizations, and my hope is, whether I'm president or Maureen Murphy will be president, that this college stands for this community, Southern Maryland. And if there's a need, if there's something that we can do to work with you, we'll be there for you and with you. You just need to tell you, as Joe did in terms of his need for apprenticeship training, the pre-apprenticeship training. And also, if you travel to any one of our hospitals, and hopefully only as a visitor, and you ask one of the nurses on the floor, where did you get your RN? Chances are they're going to say CSM. Well, I believe in the future when you have a plumber or electrician come to your home, or an HVAC technician, and you say, where did you get your training? They'll say CTET. And that's what this facility is all about. It's about dreams. And this is a dream come true for so many of us. This event would not have occurred without the activities of so many people. Karen Smith-Hupp and her staff, I want to thank her, Larissa Pfeiffer, Kim Yeoman, and Sharon Buckler, and my assistants, and so many employees. I want to thank them for their hard work to get this today done. So thank you very much. And we are at a point now where the ceremony is just about finished. We're going to cut the ribbon. But I hope that you will take the time to visit your facility. This is not the college's facility. This is all of our facilities. Visit the classrooms. Visit the laboratories. We have students. We have instructors who will tell you what is going on, the state-of-the-art equipment, etc. And remember, you don't have to become a journeyman to come here. If you want to take a basic class in plumbing or welding for a few weeks, you can do that. And so think about coming here. In fact, We have open houses the third Saturday of every month. So the next one is on Saturday, April 29th from 10 to 2. If you know someone who may be interested in working with their hands, whether it's a career or just an avocation, come on over.
Everybody smiling.